Hey everybody, it's me Audrey. I'm back again with another video. So I just want to say that not everybody is against you. I know, I know you've been hearing this because it's a lot of negative things out here in the world to try to make us feel like people are against us. But I just want to tell you that not everybody is against you. Okay? There are some people out here who really care about you genuinely. They care about your well-being, and they just generally care about you as a person. Okay? They admire what you do. They admire you as a person, and they are not there to take away from you. Okay? They're not there to manipulate. Now, there are some people who do, but I'm just speaking to people who have been through some things. They've been through some betrayal, and they are no longer trusting anyone in their lives. Okay? They don't trust anyone. They looking at people with the side eye, trying to wonder if this person has good intentions or not. And the only reason why they're doing this about every person that they come across is because of something that happened to them. They were hurt in the past. And so now they are bringing all of that into their life. Even now, they haven't truly let go. They haven't truly dealt with that issue at hand. They haven't really addressed that insecurity of something that happened to them when they were a child. And what happens is they grow up and they project that same pain onto others because it happened to them. It's like the saying that goes, hurt people hurt people. You've been hurt before, and you're hurting other people because you were hurt. And it's all that you know, right? And you think it's normal. And a lot of times we're blind to it. And this is why we should pray the prayer that God will create in us clean hearts and renew a right spirit within us. We should ask God to search our hearts and know our thoughts. Test us and see if there's anything wicked inside of us that does not bring him glory or praise. We should ask God to remove those things from us. We should ask God to remove the blinders off of our eyes, because a lot of us are still holding on to pain from many years ago, even after that person who wronged us is no longer here or no longer around. They may be living their lives, and a lot of times people don't even know that they hurt you, maybe because you didn't speak up and they offended you, but you held on to it and you didn't speak up for yourself because you were too afraid to address it, afraid of what they would do, afraid of what they would say. So you held it in, but then you became bitter and angry, and now you're lashing out at others who are innocent because of what happened to you many years ago. And this is why it's so important to heal. We have to heal from our past trauma. Otherwise, we're going to continue this cycle of hurting others and therefore hurting ourselves. We're hurting our relationships when we continue to hold on to the wrongs and the offenses that people did to us. We don't have any peace. We don't have any joy because we're constantly rehearsing those things over and over and over in our head. And it does us any good. No good at all. But God wants us to release that thing or those things. God wants us to be free. He says that whom the Son sets free is free indeed. But we have to allow Jesus to come into our heart. And we have to release and relinquish that control of the matter and give it over to God. We have to learn to rest and lay it at his feet and don't pick it back up. It's easy to say that we're going to do it, but do we really? It's easy to say, well, I've forgiven this person. But then when you come in the presence of this person, your heart starts to pound and beat very heavily. Or you may even begin to sweat when you see this person, or when you're in the presence of the person who wronged you. You're not truly healed. I remember the time when I was in a relationship with my ex, and we were on and off. And when we broke it off for good, I hadn't seen him for over a year. But then when I did finally see him at a restaurant, I looked at him and I didn't feel anything. I felt nothing, because there would be times when I wasn't healed and I would see him. My heart would beat really fast. But this one particular time, I knew I was over him, and I knew I had truly forgiven him, because I was able to look at him and not feel anything. But, I didn't feel anything. I didn't feel the hurt. I didn't feel the pain or anything of our breakup. I was good. And not long after that, God sent me to my husband. He allowed me to meet my husband. And I didn't bring all the extra baggage into my now marriage, because I had let it go. During that time, I had, the breakup, I had cried and poured out to God. I asked God to clean me up. I asked God to get all this mess out of me, get all the hurt and the pain out of me from that relationship, because it was my first relationship. But God worked on me. And because I cried out and I poured out, God released it and he freed me. And there was even a point where I saw this gentleman at my job, and I was able to have a general conversation with him. How you doing? How's your family and all that stuff, without feeling any resentment, any animosity, none of it. I was genuinely concerned about him and wished him well. And after that, I never seen him. And like I said, shortly, and this was after I had got married too. But I didn't feel anything, is what I'm saying. God had completely healed me. And it took time. It took me crying out. It took me pouring out my heart to God and asking God to remove this mess out of me so that I can be free. And God did it. This is why I always tell people, pour out, cry out to God. You be like Hannah. You got to be desperate. You got to be desperate for change. You got to be desperate for healing. You got to be desperate for deliverance. You got to come to your Father open-handedly, unashamedly, boldly. Come to God and ask him. And when you ask with pure motives. You ask intentionally with a pure heart, and he will do it. Because once again, whom the Son sets free is free indeed. And God doesn't want you to walk around with hatred in your heart. He doesn't want you to walk around with unforgiveness in your heart. He doesn't want you to be bitter or resentful. He wants you to be free. He wants you to be free so that you can love the way that he loves. And he talks about loving your enemies. Does he not talk about loving your enemies? So this is what God requires of us. If you truly forgiven a person, you're going to treat them like you truly forgave them. You're not going to hold anything over their head. Now, that doesn't mean that your relationship is going to be reestablished the way it was before. By all means, no, right? But you can genuinely wish this person well. If this person did need something from you and you had to give, then you would give it. God did it for me, and I know he can do it for you. Okay? So take care Don't allow your past experiences to hinder you from living the life of love that God called you to live, of showing and displaying the love of Him to others, even to your enemies. Okay? So you take care, and remember, not everybody is against you. Not everybody is against you. There are some people who are for you. There are some people who are with you. They're there to support you. They're happy for you. Okay? We're not going to focus on the people who aren't. Okay? Because there's nothing you can do about that. You just got to keep being yourself. You just got to keep shining. You just got to keep going. And don't worry about who's not with you. Focus on the people who are. Be happy about that. Be content with what you have and with who you have. The genuine relationships that you have with others. Be happy about that and focus on those. Focus on cultivating those relationships. Okay? Be at peace. Take care.